During a quiet reading hour or a stressful exam, a student's hands are often busy underneath the desk. You might see fingers repetitively picking at a rough patch of skin or a healing scab on their wrist. Adults usually spot this and assume the child is merely restless, bored with the lesson, or lacking basic self-discipline. The adult instinct kicks in, offering the simplest, most well-meaning advice possible. They tell the child to simply stop. Inside, that student is painfully aware of what they are doing. They desperately want to quit, yet they find it physically and psychologically impossible to pull their hands away. Clinicians recognize this behavior as pediatric excoriation, a disorder involving recurrent, compulsive skin picking. When we treat a clinical struggle as a simple behavioral choice, we distance the child from the help they need and make the internal pressure even harder to bear. Excoriation falls under a specific medical category known as body-focused repetitive behaviors, or BFRBs. A BFRB involves intense, recurring urges to pull, pick, or bite at one's own body to the point of causing physical damage. This condition frequently emerges during the heightened stress, physical changes, and social pressures of early adolescence. It rarely acts alone. Pediatric excoriation often appears as a companion to underlying anxiety or OCD spectrum conditions. At home or in the classroom, the presence of the condition is often visible. Caregivers might notice unexplained scabs, wounds in various stages of healing, or an unusual amount of bandages. These marks serve as the physical artifacts of an exhausting, invisible psychological battle. To see exactly why discipline fails here, look at this diagram. It illustrates the self-sustaining psychological feedback loop that traps the brain in this behavior. The cycle begins with a moment of stress or an anxiety spike. That spark ignites an uncontrollable urge, which traces down to the physical action of picking the skin. Here is the crucial neurobiological trap. The action actually provides the brain with a brief, intense flicker of psychological relief from that initial stress, but the relief abruptly fades. The immediate aftermath leaves the child with genuine distress, fresh sores, and potential scarring. This physical consequence causes deep embarrassment. The child feels terrible about their inability to stop and the visible damage they have caused. They adopt new behaviors to conceal this shame, like wearing heavy, long sleeves in warm weather just to hide their arms from their classmates. The isolation of hiding generates massive new stress, which loops directly back to the initial trigger point. The cycle accelerates. Demanding a child use pure willpower to snap out of it ignores the biology of the condition. Willpower cannot overcome the powerful biological reward of relief that keeps this loop spinning. While willpower is useless against a BFRB, targeted behavioral science is highly effective. The primary evidence-based treatment utilized by clinicians to dismantle this loop is called habit reversal training, or HRT. HRT starts with careful investigation. A therapist works closely with the child to meticulously identify specific environmental and emotional triggers. Next comes the retraining phase. The child learns to build safe, substitute actions that satisfy the brain's need for sensory feedback without damaging the skin. True clinical treatment never relies on punishing the urge. It systematically disarms the psychological loop, allowing the child to regain control of their own body. Accurate diagnosis and proper HRT implementation require the expertise of a licensed clinician. For students across Georgia, MentalSpace School is a dedicated support network providing culturally competent teletherapy for exact challenges like this. They provide a highly accessible care model, offering same-day appointments and zero out-of-pocket costs for Medicaid patients. When we replace dismissive discipline with targeted clinical understanding, students can permanently break the cycle of shame and begin genuine healing.